The Invisible Man. Oh, the Invisible Man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Invisible Man. My name is Mark David Stallard, and the guy in top left is Ryan Janz. Middle name is also David, but he doesn't use it even though he should. We are It's All in the Mind. Chap of the between us there is Colorado Phil. You'll be familiar with
Go
him.
Jets, go!
And of course, our very special guest,
Dupree.
Ray Powers, is joining us all the way from New York. So we're truly international again. So without further ado, I'll do the introduction. If I can find my notes here. So Ray Powers.
That's pretty sweet. We're spanning 3 different time zones. That's new for us, I think.
Yeah, so Ray Powers is a music industry veteran, having toured with a plethora of acts since age 15. He's a respected and sought-after vocalist, bassist, composer, and producer with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame credentials. In addition to logging tour dates and studio sessions, Powers hosts the globally syndicated radio show, The Ray Powers Hour. So welcome to the show, Ray.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I love the fact that my intro included the word plethora.
Indeed.
I feel important now.
You did. I wrote that word specially for you. Okay, maybe, yeah.
Is it plethora or plethora?
Well, the way I said it is correct.
Fair enough.
So we've got another bass player.
English pronunciation.
Go bass, bro.
It's an English pronunciation of a Latin word, so it's got to be right. Here we go. It's going to make things a little bit more equitable. Oh, no, we're not. Excuse me. There we go. Okay, so we'll leave that. We'll leave the screen alone for a bit. So Ray, we're familiar with you, but I'm sure there's a number in the audience that is not familiar with you. Can you maybe just tell a little bit about yourself and what you're about?
Who out there is unfamiliar? I'm so indignant right now. Oh, how's that? Well, I've been doing this longer than I haven't, more than 2/3 of my life. Did my first tour when I was 15 years old. That was 1986. Right before my 16th birthday, it wrapped up. Had piano lessons from 6 to 10, ages 6 to 10. As soon as they discovered I had perfect pitch, they were like, "You're taking piano lessons." And it worked out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Gave me, the musical acumen I needed. Keyboards were my first instrument. I was touring as a keyboardist. Taught myself guitar at about 18, 19, and then taught myself bass at 20 in order to join the band because they needed a bassist. Back in 1988, 89, 90, you guys know everybody and their mother played guitar, but tried to find a good bassist, drummer, keyboardist. So I figured if I want to get into a band, I want to learn to play bass. I loved it anyway. Kind of like trying to get on a baseball team, pitch or catch. Do the jobs that are really hard.
Yeah, for sure. It was when I first started playing, I was around that age, 15 to 18.
You said that. Thank you so much. You validated me very much.
Bass player jokes to come. Yeah, so when I started playing as well, I was about the same age, 15. I started playing guitar. That we could find drummers. Drummers were 2 a penny in the village where I grew up, funnily enough, but we couldn't find a bassist. So me and Gavin learned to play out of necessity. I haven't played seriously since I've been in Canada, but we played for about 10 years. I was playing bass, so yeah, you do what you have to do. And sometimes it's a lot of fun.
I mean, unfortunately, I can't play bass for you today because I'm all by myself. It would just be a bass solo. But I've got my 12 strings, so I'm ready.
Sounds good. Yep. So were you from a musical family, or were you just one of those, you were given piano lessons because that's what they did then?
Well, that's what they did, but actually I'm second generation. Dad was a singer in a doo-wop group, a couple of doo-wop groups. Rather high profile, almost got to make a record, but back then it wasn't like today. You had to know someone who knew somebody who knew somebody. And even then it was calling a couple of favors.
Right.
And it was just like today. It's like, talent was the last thing on the list. It was all about what you looked like, who you knew, and everything else before it, which doesn't really matter, but that's how the business is. He got to play the World's Fair in 1964. is a great bass vocalist even today. But I mean, he didn't go into it professionally once he got married and had us, my brother and I.
Right.
But my brother followed me into the business, and I've been making a living at show business, at least, if not, a full-time living all the time, at least supplement the income. So I've always been involved, and I've been pretty lucky.
And so you're actually you're more than just a musician, all right? You're a producer as well, and you tell us about how you got into that. That was kind of fascinating.
Yeah, well, again, one of those things that fascinated me with listening to records was just what was involved in making those records, and I had that Edison in me. It's like I want to take it apart and find out what made this record so great. Always had a producer's ear. Again, having perfect pitch, it kind of it piqued my interest. When I showed up at Manhand's Records to just cut a demo with my band I was in about 1996, hat in hand, just a young kid, 25, still had long hair, period. Long time ago. I was like, hey, man, we just want to make a 4-song demo and try to shop this and get signed, man. And, as I sat in the studio, and Mike Cullens, who is the founder of Manhand's Records, basically he's been my mentor for the better part of 25 years. And he took me under his wing and said, if you want to do this, he gave me the lay of the land. I paid my dues. I ran for coffee. I did what I was told. If a microphone broke, I literally would hold it. I was a gaffer for some of these high-profile guys coming in. I showed up on time. I stayed late, kept my mouth shut, did what I was told. And, by 1999, I was getting little jobs, All right, produce this. Here you go. Throw you in the deep end. See how you do.
Right. And that kind of things just took off, I guess.
From there.
Yeah. Do you recall the first record that you produced?
The first record that I produced, actually, when I say throw me into the deep end, I mean it. Something came across where Chris Isaak, out in Burbank, California, he was with Warner Reprise at the time. Not sure the details of what I'm able to actually share with everybody, but long story short, they wanted more music. I'm like, why would Chris Isaak need more music? He's one of the best songwriters around. Whatever it was, he was shopping for more stuff. Okay. And myself and a co-writer, we came up with a song. In 48 hours, we had to arrange this, demo it. I had to perform it. I had never sung lead in my life, other than maybe commercials and jingles. This is going out to big people. And we had to FedEx the tape back then. This is how far back we're going. This is 1999. And get a yay or nay. So it's like, this is going out to Chris Isaak for consideration on his album. So I was pretty, I was excited, but at the same time, I think I was too young to be really properly nervous. When you're young and dumb to know any better. I think that was, at that point, that was an asset.
Yeah, for sure. I remember those days. Actually, we're just saying that when Ryan first met me, I was a bit of a nervous wreck. I mean, I love being in front of everyone, but I'm a very loud introvert, or at least I always consider myself. And the last show we had now, I'm going up to, without even being prompted, I'm going up to the audience in the coffee shop, shaking hands with everybody and giving them promotional material and talk. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. You start off overconfident when you're older, and as you get older, when you're younger rather, and you kind of get a little more confident as you get older as well. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you just don't care anymore after a while, eh?
Well, there's probably some of that, I would think. So you were talking about your producing experience there. So then we're gonna have to ask the mother of all questions here. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Ray. So obviously you started right before the big turnover, that 99, 2000, before everything went digital.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the analog digital argument for recording and producing music?
Well, if you're just talking about the technique, on the Trident board and the SSL boards and recording on tape, I loved recording on 2-inch tape. And for anybody out there who's under the age of 30, you see sometimes in the old movies you had, tape and reel going. That's how records used to be made. Now you have a laptop, you have undo buttons. Cut and paste back in the old days meant literally cutting with the razor blade and praying you didn't make a mistake, and you better have a safety copy. I love that, obviously today it's not, it's all about efficiency and budget, because nobody has $200,000 to make a proper record. And at the same time, I don't think, sending GarageBand demos, uploading them to Amazon is righteous either. I think there's a happy medium. I love the fact that we can do this in the box to an extent. I love the fact that I embrace technology. It's, it helps us most of the time. But I do have some fond memories, and I kind of wish it'd be cool if I could have like Dave Grohl's studio or a Barry Gibb studio where they're doing everything 4872 track on actual analog. They can afford to blow $1 million on a vanity project, a hobby.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'm gonna have to ask a question, because I've recorded my own stuff, and I didn't have access to analog equipment, but I got involved with another local Winnipeg artist, or at least a local Canadian artist. I don't know where Brett has gone off to now, where I played backup vocals. There's a recording school in Winnipeg that is their end of year project for their producers. You have to record a song of the local artist, right? And we did it on 1.25" tape because that's what they had. But my experience is I love the quality that we got out of the track. And it was always about performance. We played that song until I was probably playing it in my sleep, subconsciously. And it still took us about 5 or 6 takes to get everything perfect, or at least to the point where we were satisfied. And then we recorded it. Loved the quality that we got out of it. But for the same, and I'm going to say in the same breath, the stuff that Mark and I have done was done in my basement, his basement, recorded through laptops, amps, mics, whatever we could afford. And that still turned out pretty decent. So what to your ear, to your professional producer ear, which do you think actually sounds better, the analog capture or the digital capture?
Well, being that, providing that you want to get this on the radio, and that's the ultimate goal.
Right.
Everything has a sound now. Everything is customized to sound a certain way. Where it's the standard now is Pro Tools, and a lot of what we're listening to aren't real drums and aren't real bass, and everything is quantized. Everything is timed out and mechanical for the lay people. It's basically just, it's metered. It's all measured out. And now, consequently, the vocals have got to be quantized no matter how good you are. And you're going to go through pitch correction, whether you need it or not. And obviously, it's not going to, it's like a polygraph test. The bars might go nice and easy, or they might go like this if you're terrible. But I love digital. I love the idea of recording live, everybody in the room and going right to the 1 tape, 2 tape. But, the reality is today, if we have to play by the rules if we want to succeed and we want to go a certain distance. Just from radio to pick up my record, it has to sound a certain way. It's got to sound like 2020, which is why I remastered these songs. And, I was just talking to a friend about that, how it's a shame that Aretha Franklin tried to sing live today to a track. She'd sound off, and she would sound like the problem. When she was singing and these horns were getting hotter as the sessions would go longer, it was awesome. It's like now you listen to it and go, oh, I can hear how pitchy it is, because it was so attuned to perfection, and it was a great thing.
No, that debate's going to rage till the end of time. And I think what's ultimately going to happen is it's going to come down to what you said. If you have $1 million to make, have a passion project like that, then you're probably going to be fine. You can afford to do the analog recording. If we're just trying to get steam and get on the radio, we're going to be stuck in that digital environment. Yeah. And I think that's probably a good spot to just take a quick break and say welcome to Ray Powers to joining us on the show, Invisible Man show with my cohorts, Mark Stallard and Phil Dupuis. I'd like to give a quick shout out to everybody who's joined us on Facebook. Rosalie Lacombre, good friend of my family's, my lovely wife, Jessica Reeve, is joining us. Hi, thank you for joining and supporting us.
Good catch, Ryan. Good catch.
Ron Zaragoza, our guest from last
Ron.
week, has joined us. Welcome, Ron. We're glad
Hey,
you could
Ron.
be here. And I'm getting hit by a plethora. Hey, we're using plethora again. Another Ron. Ron Persisny, co-worker from work. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We have with us Ray Powers, a music veteran. And, we just have Sophia Mason, another friend of ours, just joined us. I'm doing my call-outs. Mark and Phil, you're welcome to go ahead. We have Ray Powers with us.
Yep. Pauline Santoro has joined us, says hi. And Sonia Webb from the UK has joined us as well. So hi, Sonia. Nice. Hopefully Ryan's listening along with you as well. Anyhow.
Hi, Pauline.
Here we go.
How you doing?
We got viewers.
Okay. Now you've toured with some pretty big names. One of them that kind of jumps out is because everybody covers this guy, Benny King. Stand By Me is one of our. We do that one as well. You've got the Drifters, the Chiffons, Danny and the Juniors, just to put out a couple there. How on earth did you get involved with these guys? It's kind of impressive to say the least.
It is, and I was blessed. Basically, I just waited my turn, and I hung around long enough where a lot of my friends, as they turned 30, were like, that's it. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm never going to make it. I'm going to go straight. I'm cutting my hair. In my case, God took mine at 30, so I just went the rest of the way. I was at a show in Atlantic City, and of course, because I was involved with the studio, this is in 2003, and it was the last time I went as a guest. My friend was playing a 2-week residency at a casino, and I remember saying to myself, I want to be up on stage. That's my friend on bass right now, but I so want to be that guy. And I just envisioned it, and I said, I really, really want to be there. And I guess subconsciously, that next year, I must have really made an unspoken campaign to really just to push. A funny story, my brother got that gig before I did. He was in the right place, right time. And as I worked out, he was the right size. Long story for another day, but they wanted a guy who was kind of beefy where they could have a little security and a little bit of physical clout going into this rough neighborhood.
Right.
And he worked security as well, so he was okay with that. I taught him the stuff, and then they're saying, well, Ray knows this stuff already. Why don't we use him once in a while? He's like, he's been under our nose for years, and it was just right place, right time. That was 2004. My first gig was with 3 groups. I was pretty nervous because there were still big names involved. A lot of them now, they're licensees, and a lot of these guys are dead. So they're, the children of these people, the Jason Bonhams involved. And the Wilson kids. It's like, there's not many people left. Charlie Thomas is still out. But playing with Benny King, he came up on stage one night unexpectedly. We didn't know because he's not a drifter anymore. He was at one of these casino dates in about 2012. He's like, he's going to come up and sing Stand By Me. And I'm going, oh my God, I played this song 1,000,000 times. And now I'm shaking his hand and they're introducing him. And I've got my bass turned down to my ear and I'm going, please, God, don't let me hit the wrong note. I know where to start. But now I'm second guessing whether or not I know how to hold the bass. I'm next to Benny King. And I don't normally get starstruck because I've met these people, but for some reason, just the way he came up, and it was just like, this is like the #1 song of the 60s. And this is the guy, and I got to play with him. And when you hit the first couple notes and everything is great after that, then you're coasting at that point.
Yeah.
But man, just those first couple notes, you're going, okay, we could do this. And I start the song. It starts on bass, so it's all on me. If I make a mistake, it's out there forever because people are pirate videoing and stuff. It'll be on YouTube until the year 3000. And then sadly, 3 years later, I was at his wake in New Jersey. So
That's too bad.
Great memory, though.
Excellent.
I'm still doing it. Obviously, when concerts start again, I'll be touring with these guys again.
Right. Now, what came to mind there was, did you ask him what key he likes to sing in, or did you just assume it was the same as the record?
Well, no, they worked that out in advance.
Okay, so
the original song is in A, and we always play it in G because the singers are 70 years old now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, do it in G, and they give him a piano G. He's like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And these guys know anyway. So and again, it was like one of those things. I played that song in G a billion times, but it's like, okay, I think this is right.
I don't know. Actually, it's funny if I was playing
F or F sharp, Mark. Which one do we do that?
No, that one is. I was saying if I was just playing, say, play it along, I play it in an E because I've got I'm not a tenor, right? I'm fairly low, so
I'm a baritone. If I sing it, it's an E also.
Yeah. I'm not. I can't sing. My voice is too low for a tenor, and it's too high for a bass. So I'm kind of
right.
Always difficult.
Most males are baritones.
Yeah, I can sing along to most Michael Bublé songs, but most Paul McCartney songs I can't because his range is way too high. Anyhow, so fairly similar sounds. Yes.
When Paul McCartney's not belting it out, so like that intro to Band on the Run, stuck inside this four walls, I'm fine. As soon as we get to the chorus, no. Back to this.
Oh, just
it's like C5. Yeah. That's a head.
So I have to kind of go like to get that sad proper.
Well, I think you scared off Phil there, Ryan.
You have to do the David Turbidale thing.
Jokes.
You got to do the Whitesnake thing. If it's a note that's too high, you hold the mic to the crowd and go, "There you go."
Ooh, I'm going to learn that. I'm going to use that. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I just got this vision of like giant permed hair and like leather pants and like hair metal. Oh man, Whitesnake.
He's still out there. He's had vocal surgery a couple times, and he's still out there doing it.
Wow.
Is Phil getting naked? What's going on?
So actually, of all the big names you've been on stage with, I guess this is a two-barrel question. Is that who would you love to go on tour with again if the opportunity came up, and who would you least like to go on tour with again?
Now, are we talking living, dead? Does it matter?
No, I don't think so. Whichever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I hate to speak ill of people who are no longer around, but
there's not much they can do about it now, right?
That's very true. At this point, I'm looking forward to anybody, but living, I'll go with Benny King because he's no longer with us, or Louis Lyman, who was a good friend of mine, and we lost him about 7 years ago as well. So either one of those guys, both drifters at one point. As far as least, that was again. Let's see. Are they living? Can they come back and get me?
Well, if you whisper, maybe they won't hear you.
I don't think a lot of them are watching our show right now. We're okay.
It would probably be a member of the Drifters who's unfortunately no longer with us. And although we did make up, they're just some people that aren't very. They're difficult to work with. They may be good people, but it was a member of the Drifters who. He'd always be fighting with the musical director, and the musical director has to lead the band, and they're getting the cues from the singer. And you can only have one person really calling the shots of when a song starts and when a song ends. And you can lead the singers, you can lead to an extent, but you have to be on the same page. And some nights are problematic, but it's just one of those things where you learn to do it. I mean, I could play with anybody, but it's just a matter of some people are a lot of fun, and then I'm touring with who? All right, we could do this. Paycheck.
Yeah,
we'll do this.
Yeah, I think once on stage, I've been on stage with a number of people, local, and I think on stage most people are very easy to work with. Off stage is another issue, but I think most of the people I've been fortunate that most of the people I've worked with off stage have been pretty decent people.
I was told Lou Christie would be hard to deal with. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no problem.
I was warned about Lou Christie, who wound up being a sweetheart of a guy. And, that's the problem is I could go on tour with you and you have a bad day. Maybe I'm only, a pickup for one day and I go, Phil's a real jerk. Mark is, such a caustic guy. And then 99 other days, you've been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I caught you on the wrong day where your dog died, God forbid, or, something happened. You got a flat on the way to work. It's, That one is.
Well, my phone just went 6 times in a row when it was a wrong number. Yeah. Stop interrupting me. I'm trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to actually start, maybe talk about your music. But first, I think, would you be up for playing a song for us?
Well, if you're going to put me on the spot.
I will, and I will twist your arm.
This is so sudden and unexpected. Even though I posted it on Facebook.
Even though we talked about it about 35 minutes ago.
Right, exactly. Yeah, every now and then I will go on little, mini jaunts on my own because, let's face it, budgets. It's a lot easier to go out on your own than to bring out 8 pieces and feed them and put them in hotels. So I have to customize all of my songs so that I could do them solo acoustic. And like I said, I had played guitar before I played bass, and then the guitar players will hear me play and go, "Are you sure you've ever played before?" But now this is a song I have. It's on my current record. It's on Decade of Singles. It's a remastered single that was released originally 4 years ago. My good buddy Mark David, who'll see this, co-wrote this with me. We wrote this in like 15 minutes. It was one of those songs that it was just lightning in a bottle. It's called Gotta. He sent me lyrics. I heard the music in my head as I was reading down the lyrics. It was one of those really cool moments. I sent it back a demo 30 minutes later. It's like, are you kidding me? But a couple of years later, I got to record it as a B-side, and now it's part of this package. It actually outperformed the single that was intended. So, are we waiting for him, or should I go?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, this is called Gotta. I did this, I guess, a couple of months ago. I did an online concert for a food bank. I donated the proceeds, and I don't think I've played it since. So let's see how rusty I am. This is called Gotta. See the lines on my face growing deeper every day. I feel I've aged 10 years since the start of May. I'm trying to repair the broken pieces that I seem to keep breaking, looking for a way to clear the mess I keep on making. But I gotta find some peace, I gotta move on, I gotta find a road that's gonna take me home. Gotta get some answers to long lost questions. Gotta lay in bed that I can call my own. Gotta find some peace, I gotta move on. Gotta find some closure, find out what went wrong. Gotta get some answers, gotta get some answers from you. Be careful for what you wish. It's something you just might get. Be careful what you say, especially how it's said. It might be all you wanted, great right from the start. But watch how they tongue-tied you to get just what they want. Well, I gotta find some peace, I gotta move on, I gotta find a road that's gonna take me home. Gotta get some answers to long lost questions. Gotta get a bed that I can call my own. Gotta find some peace, I gotta move on. Gotta find some closure, find out what went wrong. Gotta get some answers, I gotta get some answers from you. Gotta peace, gotta move on. Gotta find a road that's gonna take me home. Gotta get some answers to long lost questions. Gotta lay in bed that I can call my own. Gotta find some peace, Gotta move on. Gotta find some closure, find out what went wrong. Gotta get some answers. I gotta get some answers from you. Well, I gotta move on.
Excellent.
Woo! Very nice.
Thanks a lot, Ray. That's excellent. Let me bring everybody
Thank you.
back.
I was dodging virtual tomatoes on that.
Nice,
Here we
very
go.
nice.
One pair of panties and a lot of tomatoes.
There we go.
What?
There we are.
I've been spoiled because when I sing that, I have somebody else usually playing bass, so I'm only doing one thing. So now I'm like, I find myself tripping over a word or two. I've got to practice more.
Yes, it's funny. Now we've got the time. I'm doing less practicing.
Yeah, exactly.
I realized actually yesterday I haven't picked my guitar up in a few days, so and then I picked it up at about 10:30 and annoying everybody in the house. That's life, I guess.
Could be worse. You could be a drummer.
Could be. Yes, and I would be a terrible drummer as well. So now, so you've been playing since you were 15, and I'll pretend I know how long ago that was, but it wasn't until 2011 that you actually recorded your first solo single.
Right.
So I guess two questions is, why did you wait so long? And then maybe we can talk about that first single, While We All Stand Tall.
Okay. Well, Ryan, next time I do that song, I'm going to teach you the song so you can play bass behind me.
Challenge accepted.
There you go. Why did I wait till 2011? As I mentioned, I never really sought out to be a lead singer or a solo artist or anything like that. From the time I was a kid, when I joined my first band, I had my hair in my face. I'd be playing keyboards. I had no problem singing, even co-lead, first backing vocal, as long as the focus wasn't primarily on me. And then, in my 20s, 30s, 40s, I just realized, you know what? It doesn't matter. What's someone going to say? You suck? Who cares? That's the worst that could happen.
Yeah.
Or you dodge a tomato now and again. I was doing voiceovers. I was doing anonymous songs. As I mentioned, I shot that song in 1999, We Were Meant to Be, which went to Chris Isaac. But again, it wasn't like me. I was just shopping it. 2011, the reason I sang lead was, again, out of necessity. We got something from Lower Manhattan. This was in May of 2011. Bin Laden had gotten shot and killed, captured or whatever. We were 4 months away from the anniversary of 9/11, 10 years. So, of course, Lower Manhattan was doing tributes and everything else, and they were looking for music for different projects. I, of course, accepted the job. My friend, my old bandmate, I pulled him in. We wrote a song called We All Stand Tall, which is as timely as ever today. We really could use to stand tall together. And I shopped it, and I sent it to these people. It was a demo, and they went, "This is great. We're going to go to press with this." I'm like, "Hold on, you can't use that. That's a demo. I don't even have a singer for you." And they're going, "What do you mean? You sound great." And I'm going, "But I'm not the guy. What are you talking about?" We're going, "No, we really want this." And they were pushing, and I had this feeling in his verbal body language that if I pushed too hard, he would pull the project from us. So I'm like, "All right, if you can give me 24 more hours, just let me sing the song again properly, because there's a demo and then there's the finished product. Let me layer it. Let me bring some friends in. Let me dress it up for you." And then when they heard it, they went, "Oh yeah, this is much better." I'm like, so again, I feel like I was, tricked into singing lead vocals, but all humor aside, it went pretty well. The day that September 11, 2011, and I always hate to make it about me, but it's, my friends had requested on CBS FM 101, which is the oldie station out here. Now they play 80s music and it's oldies. It's kind of scary. But doing all requests for patriotic songs. And of course, God Bless the USA is always number one. I tied Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA for requests. And I forced them to play a song that wasn't on their format. But I think they did it like during a voiceover, so they were able to, sneak by the program directors. But
Wow.
because, corporate radio, you have to follow the rules. You can't, there's just certain guidelines. You can't play requests, unless they're on that certain menu. But I was floored when I found that out. And then my label's like, well, great, you can do more music for us. You can sing now. I was like, what? And the thing is, it took me a decade to, amass 5 or 6 singles and then round it out with some B-sides, cool stuff. Because if a project comes into Mad Hands Records, I'm lead producer. I get first pick at everything. They're paying all the bills, and then consequently, I'll be able to make music. Kind of like virtually at midnight, so to speak. When the studio's closed. You want to bring those people in, and when business is good, you're constantly getting supplanted, which is a good problem to have. But then it's like, when are you putting your music out? It's like, I'll get to it. So, it's kind of like when you're the cook and you're the last person to eat.
That'll be my mother-in-law. She does all the work, and then everything's cold. If there's anything left.
Right.
Now, when I cook, I make sure I serve myself before I tell other people it's ready. But anyway, that's strategy.
I do that so I don't kill people. I'm not a very good cook. I do that just so I don't kill people.
Okay, so we actually have a couple of comments on the song. Kathy Davis says, good job, Ray. Sonia Webb.
Thank you.
And Sonia Webb and Ryan is actually listening with us. So hi, Ryan, as well as Sonia. We've got a big red heart, and Pauline Sontaro says, great song.
Thank you. I appreciate that. As I mentioned, that's one of my favorite songs as far as the way it came out when we recorded. I had 2 days to put that song together. Again, it's self-imposed deadlines. I'm always, in a situation where we call up the replicator who's making the CDs. Is it an emergency? Let me guess. Of course it is. So we did all those tracks in 2 days, laid everything down. Drums, vocals, the whole deal. It wasn't that many tracks. It was maybe 36. And for people who don't know, people were making records in the 90s with 200 tracks, maybe 60 vocals. People don't realize how many stacks of layers of everything go on a record.
Yeah,
that was done fairly easy.
That's not a digital phenomenon. It's just easier now. Instead of having multiple reels of tape with multiples and then making one final master out of it, we just new track, right? But that's not a phenomenon. I remember watching an interview with it was like the making of Nevermind, and Butch Big was going to Kurt Cobain, who said, "No, I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to do it that way, because I don't want to multi-track." He said, "Well, John Lennon did it." He's like, oh, "Okay." Because Kurt Cobain was a big Beatles fan.
And that's the role. That's what a producer really does. He coaxes the best out of you, and people,
Just think how much music we would not, how much good and great music we would not have had the Beatles had a different producer.
Imagine.
Right. So actually, I'm struggling with the 5 or 6 tracks when we're recording our stuff, and we're talking hundreds, like multiple takes, obviously, but
Imagine having to mix that.
Yeah, and I find actually recording it, getting it sound, just getting it down and doing the performance fine. I have a hell of a time mixing. I don't know why. Yeah, just skills.
I've done a lot of live mixing. Like I do a lot of volunteer sound work, and I've done sound for our shows and other people's shows. And there's a real art to it. And it's like it's all so subtle. You can't just say, okay, this is how I set up my board. So I might set up my board a certain way, and then all of a sudden it's like you have to make tweaks and changes. And it's like the difference between a background vocalist overpowering a main or a vocalist, or say something from a drum kit, like an extra percussion thing. That's the gain set too high, or you haven't given yourself enough headroom, and then all of a sudden it starts taking over the drum beat, and all you hear is that one thing. It's so subtle. It's just such a subtle thing, and it takes so much practice and so much listening. And some of the guys I've volunteered with who do sound, they're like, it's all about control for them. It's all, oh no, it has to do it this way, and it has to sound this way. And it's like, no, dude, you have to understand what they want so that you can have that out here. You're not the captain, you're the executive officer. You tell me what you want, and I'm going to do my best to make it sound the way that you want out here. And yeah, that doesn't carry over to a bunch of guys who really just want to be, no, I want it this way and that. All right, well, whatever.
Well, that's why you have mix engineers, and that's why I think it's better to send your project off to somebody who is, who specifically does mixes and mastering, because they have an objective set of ears. They know what it sounds like in 2020 and what is going to have the best results for you commercially. And, they know how to space things out. They're not married to any ideas. Oh, I really love playing this cowbell and it's got to be right up front. Everybody wants to be up front. You have to make room. You have to find pockets where everything's going to breathe. Everything can't be front and center.
Yeah. As much as I try and take focus, sometimes I have to move back. So you've recently released a new CD, Decade of Singles. And so that, obviously the first one was 2011. So you've had, not quite a full decade. So how did that come about? Why was the decision to pull them all together?
Well, I'm locked down and I need money. No.
Okay, I'm with you. I understand
That's
completely.
a great answer right there. That's like the perfect answer.
It's about as honest as I can be. Now, actually, we were going to release this in the summer, and then we realized people were going to be home for a long time and said, you know what? We could do the world a service. Listen to me. I'm so special. And honestly, we realized we would be in a position where, again, we're not touring right now. So records traditionally don't sell in 2020, but we have to try. And we had the idea of, let's make it special. Let's repackage, remaster the singles, but give them all the B-sides. We have a couple of unreleased songs, one of those being the song I Shop to Chris Isaac. 10 songs in all. And I've got a 30-minute bonus video that I did right from this chair. Just a lot of candid stuff about how I made the record and what I was thinking at the time and what went into it. An insight on that. And of course, you get the liner notes, you get all the lyrics, which you can't get on Spotify. You have to have the full package. I don't have CDs right now just because we did research and I think 33% of people still play CDs. At least, the poll we took. So I've got flash drives, or we could just do downloads, Dropbox. And it's a lot of stuff, but, it's about a gig worth of material, but it'll keep you busy for a while.
Yeah, sounds great. So I've got some information I'm just going to put up on the screen where people can get hold of your stuff there. So I'll just read down the list there. So raypowers.bandcamp.com. You can find Ray on Facebook, Ray Powers fan page. Reverb Nation, Ray Powers, and I know for sure you can buy the music on Reverb Nation. Instagram.com, Ray Powers Music, and of course you can search for him on Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, iTunes / Apple Music, and probably others, I'd imagine, as well.
There's a lot of others. They wouldn't fit on the screen. There's like 60 or 70 retailers that carry. Deezer in Japan's the big one. There's so many. I mean, I think Pandora picked it up. Pandora's kind of weird. They have to select you, and they have to. It's like a hierarchy. Tidal has it, but we were fighting with Pandora, so I have to see if they actually did pick it up. I haven't gotten the first quarter report yet, or the second quarter report. But Tidal has it. And they're like a boutique label, as you know, or a boutique service. So I was like, wow, we made Tidal. That was pretty cool.
Right.
But, the rest of them that are on there, I don't know which, Seal, Apple Music, but those are the main ones. And, of course, KK Box, I think, is a big one around the world, and there's a lot of them.
Yep. I think our music.
So it's a worldwide release.
I think Django's still around. I think our music's still floating around on there as well.
Napster is legal now. They have it.
Yes, Napster ruined it for everybody. Yeah.
Like 20 years to get legal.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it's funny. I picked the time where the music industry was crashing to get involved in record production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you re-record any of the tracks for the CD, or they were pre-recorded recorded tracks that you just remastered?
Yeah, they're just remastered. I didn't want to get into the process. I mean, of course, you listen to tracks and go, man, I really wish I would have recut that bass a certain way, or it could use another of this. And once you start that, you're never going to release it.
Nope.
Because now Pandora's box is open again, and you're like, I want to update this, but now it's going to sound like 2020. I wanted that to be a timestamp of 2013, 2014. This is where I was.
Yep.
You know, so now it just sounds crisper and it sounds all uniform, and
Right.
it belongs on an album. It's cohesive. But people get involved in that, and I'm bad that way because I've got OCD, and I have perfect pitch, so I can hear every little tiny mistake that you're never going to hear. I'm talking to the lay public who can enjoy music, and I envy you in that way because I can't listen to a song on the radio and not pick it apart and go, oh, there's a punch. Oh, I see what they did there. It's like Lucas watching Star Wars. He can't enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah,
But, you know.
Yeah, there's a certain charm about hearing or experiencing a piece of art in the period that it was released, or from the period that it was released.
Right.
It would be like someone coming along and really rewriting Sherlock Holmes. You know, there's a certain beauty in the language.
Yeah, you're going to lithograph a Rembrandt? I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's fine if that's all you can afford. But yes, I would have a Turner hanging over my fireplace, even if it was a bad copy. Those are great. Anyway, so if you're looking for anything to buy me for Christmas,
characteristically unconversational today.
No, I was. You know what? I've been just like sucked right into the interview right now, and great stuff. I love it. Plus, I'm a little upset. I dropped my phone in the bathtub today, so hopefully it'll be okay. It's charging now.
Was there water in it?
Oh, there was
an empty tub.
Apparently.
That's what I had asked him. The first thing he mentioned, I think, off air, and it was the first thing I asked him too.
Hey, bubble bath too.
Oh,
it's clean
and shiny.
And shiny, yeah. Hey, but yeah.
Well, we'll give you a chance here if you wanted to throw in it. If you've got anything for Ray here, Mark and I have been going here pretty strong for a while. So if you've got anything, go for it.
Yeah, no, off the top of my head, no, I don't, because that's all I kept thinking about was dropping my phone in the tub.
I've never done that, but I have a niece who did.
Oh my gosh.
They do it just to see what's going to happen. It's like they say it's waterproof. Bloop. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, but mine was charging. It was on a battery.
Oh,
Oh.
It was charging.
Yeah.
So you had 12 volts going through everything. All right.
Yeah.
1.5 amps. Actually, 1.5 amps can kill you, Phil. So don't do that again.
Oh, wow. Hey, yeah.
Even at
I got the hard way.
dangerous.
That's probably why it dried so fast. Because it's really.
No, I the worst I ever had is my first smartphone I ever owned was a Palm Trio. It was an old version of the Palm Trio, and that's going way back into the early 2000s, right? And so I'm working as a photocopier repairman, and I'm working at the University of Manitoba's Faculty of Dentistry. This is how vivid I remember doing it. I remember someone sent me a text message. I pulled it out of my pocket after going to the washroom, and it went plunk right into the toilet.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Like,
let's back to the music. Anyway.
Yeah, let's get back to that.
So did you say that you produce your own music, Ray? Or do you?
I do. I co-produce it mostly because, you know, budgetarily it works out better. I know what I want to hear, and I'm organized enough where I could put it together. I do my homework. I make sure if I have session musicians come in, I'm prepared, they're prepared, make sure they're comfortable. I feed them, I take care of them. And I've learned the best, you know, like you said about Butch Vig, the finer points of production, it's not knob twiddling. It's all about getting the right people and getting them in a frame of mind where they want to go through walls for you. And giving them the confidence and making sure that they're, you know, they're at their best and they feel their best. And I've been lucky to work with a lot of great musicians. And I would love to have, you know, a Mutt Lange, a Butch Walker, a Bob Rock produce my record. You know, until I sell a couple of million more, I'll be doing my own for a while. But yeah, I like having a co-producer to bounce off of, just because you get too wrapped up in yourself and you lose yourself no matter who you are.
Yeah, I find because I do everything in the basement, actually pretty much on this chair, and I'll record a track and think that sounded great, because I'll stand up and I'll put some blankets around to dull the echo down here, and then I'll sit down and think that sounded good. You sit down, you listen to it maybe an hour or so later, and you go, oh, I was clipping the whole time, damn it, and then you'll go back. It'd be really nice to have somebody else in the chair.
Absolutely, yeah. And you just somebody who will tell you, no, that sucked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know you're in love with that, but it's not working.
Yeah. So my first CD was my first. I was a friend of mine that I worked with. Was a musician. He had an old copy of Cubase, and he recorded my first CD. So five songs, just my voice and one guitar, and just going through that experience, and not even realizing I sang a piece. He goes, "That was great, but you're a little bit flat on the chorus. Do it again." And I'm like, "What?" Get a little bit offended because it's the first time I worked with anyone that way. And you go, what? And I'm like, okay. Then he played it, and I can hear it now. But I would have heard it a week or two later. I just couldn't hear it on the day, and it was really nice to actually have someone to do that. Now with our latest CD, well, I say latest, it was about 10 years ago. It was 7, 8 years ago. I did everything, and I was having that trouble a lot, and I had to go back and re-record some stuff.
Well, we bounced it off each other pretty good. I don't think there was a ton of feedback. I usually caught my own mistakes pretty quick. You'd be like, yeah, we got to re-record that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I was about to say that too. And we had a lot of good collaboration between the two of us. It was actually really fun making that album. A lot more work than you would think. Even though, and we did just have a laptop and a couple of amps and mics and stuff like that. But we tried.
And lots of blankets, darling, just keeping the sounds in.
Oh, so you worked under a blanket fort? Is this what I'm getting?
Yeah, we actually had. I think because Ryan's bass would pick up bass would pick up everything, right? We'd have just put the blankets over just so we can just kill everything over the mic, over the amp and the mic, and have it mic'd up so that we can hopefully get rid of some of that static and background.
One of my favorite basses that I've ever played. It's based off the Jet King, Ibanez Jet King guitar body. So it's got 3 passive pickups, single coil pickups. And so it creates a really unique tone, but it creates a buzz like you wouldn't believe. And no matter how well you get it so that your amp doesn't buzz or creates as little buzz as possible, that
sit a certain way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then the pot lights, it picks up the pot lights, the hum from the pot lights, or we're too close to the oven with the digital clock, and it's picking up that. And
TV.
So I had pads and DIs, and we tried direct in, and it got to be a thing. And I think at one point we had recorded it, and the title track to our album going in, was supposed to be me doing just a solo, like a quick little. It's like a jazz kind of. It's like do 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 do, right? It's like something like that, and then we just didn't get the buzz. We tried processing it. We tried physical things like recording tricks and everything. We couldn't process it out. So Mark goes, I just put the drum loop over top of it, and it hides the buzz.
Well, actually, no, I did 2 things, because you did a pause, right? You go dum ba da bum 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 bum, and then you start bum, and then there's that little back gap. I just couldn't get rid of it, so I ended up just blocking out the bass, and I accidentally blocked out the drums as well. And I thought that sounds great. That's a little bit of punctuation. I kept it in, and now we play it live that way.
Yep.
Anyhow,
happy accident, right?
Yeah. Do you guys read and write music, or do you just work this out and just memorize it?
Mostly memorize it. Chords. I can kind of read music if I'm singing. I can estimate where I'm going. But it's all by ear.
I regret not learning how to properly read sheet music. That was a big regret for me. But the reason I didn't learn how to use sheet music is I was learning how to play keyboards or piano or whatever in that way, and I'd always be looking down at my hands to make sure I was doing the proper fingering. And my instructor tried to because she's trying to get me to read music, and she was a really good teacher, but she puts her thing over there, and immediately you could hear it dropped off because I was playing just by ear.
Right.
I could, I may not have necessarily known exactly, okay, well, this is an F, this is a G, this is a G sharp, this is a A. I may not have known exactly what key I may have pressed, but I knew that it was right or it was wrong. It didn't fit. It didn't feel right. And that's just sort of a natural thing. And of course, because of that, that's how I picked up learning to play guitar and bass. And I was like, yeah, this sounds right. This doesn't sound right. This sounds what it should like. So not. So yes, I can listen to a song and pick it up probably 2 or 3 times after listening to it 2 or 3 times. At least get a bass line out of it or something like that. But I really regret not being able to learn how to read sheet music. That's a huge regret for me.
Yeah, so I learned. Yeah, I learned to play guitar, using the chords knowing, learning which chords are in which key, and I can very quickly just watch someone else play bass or another instrument, and usually I can pick it up almost right away. But I learned the guitar rather than notation.
I get wrapped in the knuckles if I look down at my hands.
Yeah.
Not hard, but she would be like, "Nope, look up."
Yeah, I will often do, but then if I do with these glasses, I've got to put them to one side, so I look like a goof if I'm watching what I'm doing.
Yeah, with bifocals, it's harder, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll have to invest in some, I guess. Yes, I recently, about a year ago, I bought these, and I had the thin ones that are the fashion, and those were fine. I could look under those, but I can't look under these because they're too round. Anyhow, that's first world problems, right?
Exactly.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of the show, but I did want to actually ask you about the Ray Powers Hour. So you do a globally syndicated radio show. What do you talk about on the show? Is it music based?
It is a music-based talk show, much like this, and I was given a break on the big stages, as we talked about, and I was given a break on FM radio at one point, being co-host. When that ran its course and the new program director cleaned house, there was a place for me on digital radio. New Visions Radio at the time was run by Michael Knight. He was out in Los Angeles. He still is. Started at grassroots, handful of listeners, and then it just grew exponentially. Just more and more people. It rippled out. And he had me on his show twice when I was pushing One Kiss, my third single. Brought him good numbers, and he just understood that I got the music end of it, and I understood the show business. And, again, I was taught what not to do and what to do. And he just said, "You get it. I think you'd be good with your own show." So he gave me a chance, and I don't know whether or not he thought I'd last 6 weeks or 6 years, but he gave me a prime slot Thursday, 8:00 Eastern. I still have it, and I put up good numbers for him. I did everything he asked. One day he told me he was retiring, and he said, "I want to promote you to program director."
Nice.
And I found out really quickly that with those responsibilities come all the headaches. Everybody's always yelling at you, and you're the guy. But yeah, I still have the show. I love having indie singer-songwriters, up-and-coming people. Some people maybe we forgot about, who had hit 30, 40 years ago, and they're coming back around with an indie album. It comes full circle. Right. So it's a fun thing. I still do it once a week. 5.5 years later, I'm having a blast with it.
Nice. How much prep do you need to do for the show?
Depends on the guest, depends on the show, depends on the theme. I don't always have a guest. Last week I did a Remembering Bob Kulick special. We lost him last week. And so I replayed an interview and I talked. I'll have trivia, I'll have certain things, different parts of a show. Normally I could do it in like a day now. Right. Whereas it used to be all week for me trying to put a show together. I would do it live. Like it would be 60 minutes completely raw live. Now I try to delay it so I could put some post-production in there. Sound effects, compress it, and it works out better for me that way. I have to sometimes I pre-record an interview because the person's in Australia, and I don't want to do them at 3:00 in the morning where they're at their worst. So, it all depends. I mean, I put together a show in an hour, and I'm going, this is going to be just, straight bullocks. And it works out fine. Yeah. Sometimes I spend 3 days working on a show, and I go, my God, that's like, something I shoveled out of a horse stall. But, that's the beauty of it. You never know. It's never the same twice.
Yep.
No retakes, no redos.
Yes. Oh, Phil. That was my first impression of Colorado Phil. Mark and I used to do this show just ourselves, and then Mark reached out to Phil. Phil being a former Manitoban who's moved over into Colorado, and Mark's like, I got a guest lined up for this week. Okay, great. Who is he? He's like, have you ever heard of Colorado Phil? I'm like, I have not. He's like, well, he does internet radio. I had initially not heard of you, Phil. Sorry, man. I'd only heard when Mark did it, and then Mark goes, "Here, I think you're gonna. I could explain, but and Mark, do you have that cartoon that you did for Phil? Can you cue that up?
Yep.
Mark says, "I'm gonna play this clip, and it was actually a part of Phil's vlog.
Oh,
and this is gonna sum up."
No,
Phil,
I don't have that, but I have the audio on the cartoon that I made.
Okay, so if he has the audio, go ahead.
Oopsies, I skipped ahead just a little bit there. Whee! No retakes, no redos.
that's when he said that's going to sum up Phil in a nutshell for you, and it was absolutely correct.
I used that phrase this past week on a couple of shows.
Nice.
I love it.
Well, and I always say too, like if I make a mistake, I'll catch it and I'll do the correction live on the air. So I tell them when they're listening, like, wait, I made a mistake. You gotta go back here, redo it, and then I throw in, no retakes, no redos.
Nice, very nice.
Okay, I think that we're coming to the end of the show. Let's so we'll go back and let everybody know how you can get a hold of Ray. So you get a hold of Ray on Bandcamp. raypowers.bandcamp.com, Facebook, Ray Powers fan page, reverbnation.com/Ray Powers on Instagram, Ray Powers Music, and of course all the major and probably some less major streaming services as well. And while we're on there, we'll give ourselves a plug. If you want to get hold of us, you can get hold of us at contact us info at theinvisibleman.ca. Of course, the website's been on the screen for pretty much the whole time. Every links to everything that we're doing is on the website. You can get hold of Ryan and I at It's All in the Mind Band on Facebook, the Colorado Phil Show for Phils, and then on Twitter, MD Stallard and Colorado Phil 1. Now, Phil, do you want to talk about your show quickly, how people can get hold of you?
Monday through Fridays, usually, if I'm feeling up to it. 12 to, let's see now, wait a minute. 12 to 4 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 to 6 p.m. Central Time, and 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's on one station, VW Radio. You can listen at the website, www.vwradio.co. You can also listen from my Facebook show page. And don't forget, when you get to the Facebook show page, The Colorado Phil Show, hit like and or follow as well.
Excellent.
I think I covered everything there.
Oh, that's pretty good. And we don't actually get paid for this. We do this just for the love of it. But if you would like to show your appreciation and like to buy us a coffee, you can do so now at buymeacoffee.com/It's All in the Mind. That'd be much appreciated. No requirement, but just would be nice. And I've got on screen now a new link, books.mdstallard.com. You can buy my children's book, Fighting Stance. Go check that out. I got a couple more on the works that will be released in probably another week.
You don't have time to talk about Brenda's beaver, huh?
What?
Oh, geez. No.
Oh, no. No, this is good.
Not that
Fighting Stance. Anyhow,
book, man.
that's our plugs. Let's go back.
He's a barber, that's all.
There we go. So that's the show for now. We'd love to have you back on. I think we still had lots more to talk about, Ray. So if you want to hang around, we'll just have a quick chat after the show. So thank you very much for joining us today. It's been great, actually. It's been a lot of fun and very informative as well. And to get by the comments that we've been receiving online, the audience has enjoyed it thoroughly as well. So thank you very much.
I'll tell you what, if anybody listening, watching, whatever, wants to buy me that book, Brenda's Beaver Needs a Barber, I'll read it on an upcoming episode of Invisible Man Show.
I may have to take you up on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Yes, that's right. Yes. If we were being monetized, we would definitely be demonetized after that book. Anyhow.
There's no swearing in it. Absolutely none.
No, just a lot of double entendre.
Wow.
Yes. Well, thanks again, Ray. It's been a pleasure. And from me, Mark Stallard, on behalf of Ryan Janz and Colorado Phil, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Oh,